BIGPLAY Cleveland Show. I'm Gabriella Cruz alongside Chris McNeil, Nick Padone. Vibes a little bit lower in studio today after watching, we're shooting on Monday, so a little fresh off that Cavs what game are we on, guys? We're game 4 loss, and the Guardians fared no better in their game. I was working the guards on Sunday, so I really only got a chance to peek, fellas, at the Cavs games here and there, and then by the time I was relieved of my duties, it was halftime, and it was already ugly, so how you hanging in?
We're all battling. I think it's going to be a low energy show today, but we'll find a way to push through.
It was kind of tough over the weekend, too, because you had a nice Mother's Day. You had nice weather. I was really in a good mood. Everybody was. You're kind of set up for a couple of games on national TV, Nick, between the Cavs and then the Guardians, that you were just ready to have a nice end and cap to that nice weekend. And obviously it didn't happen, so it sets us up for this week. And it looks like we're going to be talking some Browns by the end of this week because we got the schedule coming out on Wednesday. We're going to be playing the schedule game in here, I'm sure, as everybody else will. So looking forward to what's going to be happening in the fall already here, Nick.
It's funny to me, guys, how on X especially, like, have you noticed with, rookie minicamp and such, you could put out any video and it's just like viral right now. It's like, here's Shadur Sanders. That's like all it is.
Tag it that he's throwing it like 88 yards or something, and then that's going to go viral. You could say whatever you want to in those clips. People believe what they want to believe right now with all of these quarterbacks, whether it's Kenny Pickett's hand size, whether it's Shadur Sanders is throwing the ball over the moon, or whether it's Dylan Gabriel being really short. Everybody is going to line up behind their guy, and that's what they're rolling with. And that's what you're seeing on social media, and that's what we're going to see all through until this season starts.
Clamoring excitement for our Browns. Who would have thought? Yeah. That's the thing that at this time of year we're most excited about.
Inspired by the Cleveland Browns. Yes. This is the time to do it, right after the draft, before they even do any meaningful football.
Let's take a quick break. We can get into our Cleveland headlines right after this.
The Big Play Sports Network is brought to you by Smart Choice Windows. Energy-efficient products at an affordable price. Visit smartchoicewindows.com today.
Welcome back to the Big Play Cleveland Show. It's time for our Cleveland headlines brought to you by Fairway Ford.
Fairway Ford offers complete customization for any vehicle on the lot with their Fairway Black Label line. This series features custom upgrades like premium wheel and tire packages, a wide variety of level or lift kits, performance enhancements, and fully customized interior options. And every Fairway Black Label truck comes with Rhino spray and bed liner. Whether you're looking for an aggressive off-road stance, a bold street presence, or a one-of-a-kind build, Fairway Black Label delivers. As a bonus, many of these upgrades can be financed for as little as 0% APR, depending upon the vehicle line. You dream it, they will build it. Visit fairwayfordohio.com to explore their current Black Label inventory or give them a call to start designing yours today.
All right, fellas, I don't want to spend too much time on the Cavs only because as of shooting this, we have no idea, by the time this airs, what our predicament may be as a Cleveland Cavaliers organization. But just going off the down 3-1 thing and the ability to come back, because a lot of, Dan Gilbert was saying we've been in this position before. Ty Jerome was saying this. What are your thoughts on that?
We go from the core four to the sore four right now throughout these playoffs. We see Donovan Mitchell now at halftime come up a little lame. We've had, everybody on this squad, it seems like, dealing with something, and it's all come into focus over the course of this playoffs. And one of the things that we've been talking about all year long is, what would you like to see for the Cavs? What do you think they need to avoid? And the number one thing I said was injuries, and unfortunately that's all come home to roost right now. In addition, the play that we've seen on the court has not been your signature Cleveland Cavaliers. And I think that not only the pace of the Pacers and the way that they're getting the ball up and down the floor, but then also, and this word is overused, but the physicality of the team. We just seem to be soft, Nick. And I'll tell you, Jared Allen has got to step up. And a lot of guys do, but in particular, I think the guy in the middle really needs to show his wares and be able to rebound out there like we need him to and really be that presence in the paint that this Cavs team needs.
Yeah, it's sad, guys. I mean, down 3-1, it's not impossible. This organization has overcome it before, but it's disheartening right now as we sit here Monday, down 3-1. The series isn't even officially over yet, but there's already that noise coming out about what's next year look like. Could the Cavs be a destination for Giannis? How do they break up this core four? And I think all of those questions are real. I don't know that this time around the solution can be running it back with a different head coach. We tried that last year. Kenny Atkinson has been a good coach. He was the coach of the year. I think all of the people that for the last couple of years wanted to bash the Cavs for not being physical enough mentally or physically on the court, they're having their day. Those people are having their victory laps right now because the Cavs have been outclassed by the Indiana Pacers in just about every category outside of Game 3, the game that the Cavs were able to dominate. So you need more Game 3 efforts out of the Cavs if they want to have any chance.
Now, do you think they're just banged up because they've given so much in the regular season? Or do you think it's a result of? I would love to
ask that. Kobe Altman at the post season press conference. Kobe Altman, Nick Padone, Big Play Sports Network. Why do we take the regular season so serious? Because nobody else does. Nobody else takes it seriously at all. And Kenny Atkinson did a phenomenal job with load management and not making sure that these guys weren't playing too many minutes and everybody was getting nights off left and right. They did such a nice job, but come playoff time, Donovan's usage is through the roof, and now we see him dealing with a calf strain, and Evan Mobley goes down with an ankle sprain, and DG's got a bad toe. It's like, why are we trying so hard in the regular season to be the 1 seed, to win 64 games? All of this stuff has warranted us nothing but comparisons to the 2015 Atlanta Hawks, and that's not a comparison that you want to have made.
Well, and one of the things that we've praised Kenny Atkinson for consistently throughout this regular season was he was playing guys. He was going depth on the bench, and so he was working his rotations to try and keep people healthy. So it's like, I don't know what the answer is here, Nick, because it seemed like they were treating this regular season with a longer view that, hey, we realize that the playoffs are where we really need to step up. We want to make sure that everybody's good and healthy, that everybody on this roster is ready come the spring. But it seems like even despite those best efforts, everybody seemed to fall down at the same time here.
Yeah, this one has been a real shaker because I think it took me a while to get over Game 2 just because I was like, we had every opportunity there, and there's things you look back in hindsight and I find myself ruminating about, which is crazy.
But you think of that one shot from Halliburton.
Yeah.
If that one misses, I think that totally changes this entire conversation.
Right.
Completely changes this entire
Game 2 in and of itself is like the thing that's going to bother me the most about this entire series is probably Game 2, not even this game that we just played. Does that make sense?
For sure. You were up 7 with a minute to go. Donovan Mitchell gave you 48 points. All you need to do is inbound the ball to him, let him catch it. Yeah. They'll follow him. Donovan makes both free throws. Yeah. Cavs win Game 2. Donovan scores 50. Cavs right back in the thick of the series. And Gab, to your point, that lessens the pain that we suffered Game 4. But that didn't happen. The Cavs peed down their pant leg, and now we sit here down 3-1. Yep. And there are serious questions about the direction that this organization should take as they move forward.
Yeah, I don't think any of us, the fan base, anybody who covers, was quite prepared to be on such a high to go straight down to the bottom and feel like this so soon. So hopefully we're pulling for our Cavaliers. Our Guardians are also, hey, on the road they had tons of runs scored. Their recent road trip, little recap, had let's see, they scored 39 runs on the road. 31 of those came in the 6th inning or later, so they're hitting the ball in crunch time there. And, they had 7 home runs. They were getting the job done. I'm not worried about our guards, and we'll hear more from Jensen. What do you guys think?
Well, in a division that continues to improve, this division went from the outhouse to, being one of the best in baseball right now, because you see all of the teams, with the exception of the White Sox, continuing to progress. So the Guardians, for all their ups and downs, have been able to keep pace right now in a very challenging division. And hopefully these young guys continue to come together. It's a long regular season. We're talking about them right now in May. So hopefully this is going to be a start of a good season, but you need to see more consistency out of that offense, and you got to see the progression in this pitching staff.
We'll take a quick break and be back with more Big Play Cleveland right after this. The Big Play Sports Network is brought to you by Fairway Ford, the largest inventory of new Ford trucks, the lowest pricing, and same hometown level of service. Visit fairwayfordohio.com today. Welcome back to the Big Play Cleveland Show. It's time for our Garage Beer featured interview. Garage Beer, perfect for any occasion. It's small batch, no frills, no bitterness. It's just beer-flavored beer. The garage is always open with Garage Beer. We're joining a great friend of ours, Bill Squire, comedian, local comedian. If you haven't checked out his stuff, he's in studio with us here today. Great to see you, Bill. Thanks for coming in studio.
It's great to see you. It's been a minute since I got to hang out with you.
I know. I really need to come to some shows and stuff. I've been so busy. But if you really haven't checked out, Bill's stuff is so funny. I just creep on TikTok and like his Instagram reels and stuff, which are just as good.
Well, thank you. But yes, come in person. It's not just as good. It's better in person.
I get the best of the highlights, but
Yeah.
you're so right. There's an experience involved when you come. And it's
Exactly.
great to support just like local artists in general. People do it in the arts of this.
I will say
fantastic-
this. My last show, Cammie Justice was there. So,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Awesome.
So at least one of the Cleveland female sports moguls is supporting me.
I'll have to tell her, and I'll be like, we can do a double date or tag along together next one. But you love Cleveland sports though too, Bill.
I do.
And there's plenty to talk about. I mean, we're a little bumming about the Cavs obviously right now. Have you been watching the games and stuff?
I've been watching what I can. I was in New York City last week, so I was like game 2. I'm watching on my phone in a bar with like bad reception with my buddy Jared, who's also from here, and we see the last second shot, and we're like, when you're watching on the screen, you're like, that wasn't real, was it? We were just completely shocked. And then Friday was great. We were like, okay, we're back. We're gonna be fine. And then yesterday, I was flying back from New York City, get off the plane at around halftime, and before I can even check the score, I just have a million text messages from all my friends blowing up the Cavs, just talking about what a nightmare it is, and I'm like, oh, I'm terrified to look at the score. And yeah, we were down 40 at halftime, and I was don't like that one bit.
I mean, I was working the guards game, and, you know, there was a TV on in the corner bar, so I'm walking past, and it was early. You know, we were down by 6. I'm like, okay, all right, no big deal. But then the next thing, it was the same for me. I kind of got relieved around the 6th inning, and so, like, I headed upstairs, and it was halftime. I was like, whoa,
Yeah,
whoa.
brutal.
Like,
Brutal.
I was like, I was searching for closure the whole rest of the game, guys, because I just wanted to know what happened. Like, I don't get it. I can't compute.
Nothing happened. That's your answer.
exactly,
Really,
yeah.
nothing happened out the gate. Bill, I wanted to ask you just about your career and being a Cleveland sports fan, because there are a lot of funny things that happen in the Cleveland sports realm.
Unique.
Yeah,
Yeah,
unique.
yeah.
And if that's ever given you any sort of inspiration.
Well, like I said, I just did a show the weekend. It was the weekend after the draft, and so I did some material about Shador and how he basically was supposed to be, and I broke it down to people that don't really follow sports, because not everybody that comes to my show is necessarily the biggest sports fan. So I was like, if you go and see something at Nordstrom and you're like, oh, I want to buy that, but it's too expensive, and then you see it not even at like Nordstrom Rack, but at TJ Maxx, you're like, okay, now I can't pass on it. I gotta grab this. It might be a little irregular, but I'm gonna take the chance. So I always like to do stuff like that. When Flacco got signed, I was so pumped about Flacco coming back, because one, that magical stretch at the end of that season in 2023 was just so much fun. And then also, I was one of the people that got wrapped up in it and bought a Flacco jersey for $150. So I was like, huh, I'd really like to wear this again. So now I can, with him actually on the team, hopefully. So I try to incorporate a little bit of that into my act when I can, but I don't try to make it like my whole thing either.
Yeah.
For sure.
Have you noticed? Oh, sorry, McNeil. Do you want to?
I was going to say, any thoughts? You mentioned all the quarterbacks we have, all the options we have in Cleveland right now. You mentioned Shador, you mentioned Flacco. You know, you got Dylan Gabriel sitting out there. What do you think? Kenny Pickett, who's your favorite of this group?
My favorite of this group is Flacco.
Okay.
I do like the 2 quarterback rookies. Pickett, there's only 2 things when I think of Kenny Pickett, and it's him throwing the ball with the Eagles and then like hanging onto it and falling forward.
Yes.
It's because other than that game he actually looked really good, but that is so embarrassing that you can't get that out of your head. Like, he was good in that game, but that moment erases anything good he did. And then the picture of Flacco holding the ball with his giant hands and Kenny Pickett holding, and like, I thought it was photoshopped.
Yeah.
I was like, no, this is the Cleveland Browns account. This is
Sent
not
out by the official account.
I
With both
know.
of these side by side. They're just
I-
begging you to make the joke.
I thought you made that post. And I was like, oh, that's pretty funny. He shrunk his hands down. I was like, oh no, those are his hands. Those are his hands.
I think it had to do with the colors of the gloves. I'm trying to.
Black's supposed to make things look bigger, Gab.
Yeah.
No, smaller, silly. It was. Wasn't it black gloves?
His
Okay.
hands, guys, are actually that small.
We're
He needs to wear white gloves all the time.
and we're going at this from
Yeah,
a
that's what
different
I'm saying.
angle. Gab's thinking of like the slimming features of black, and I'm
Yeah.
thinking of something not appropriate for this network.
Bill,
Did Mark Price make the same joke last week?
It's really wild.
This is why we had Bill on today.
So, and then I watched all the rookie footage, and I'm such a sucker too for anything. And I know you shouldn't, especially Cleveland Browns football, you shouldn't get excited by OTAs, rookie OTAs, and people being like, "Oh, they looked good."
How many times have they taught us that lesson?
I know,
right?
I know.
Every single
single
year.
year. But as soon as I see Shador and Dylan Gabriel, I'm like, we got two Hall of Famers on the roster right now. Doesn't matter which one; they're both going to be great. And I did like Shador's press conference. I thought he sounded humble but confident still. And then Dylan, I like too. Like I like these kids. I think they both have a chance. I'm not going to pick a favorite out of the two of them yet because
You're a
I would
Watson
like
guy.
to see more.
You're a Watson guy at heart,
so no.
You mentioned your Flacco jersey and getting hooked on OTA videos. I did order a Shador Sanders jersey this week.
Did you?
Oh, nice.
Breaking news on the
Okay,
show.
wait.
The
Could've
number
called that.
the number 12.
Did you order it like official jersey?
Official.
Not DH gate?
No, not official. However,
Double down, went all in.
Double
All your
down.
chips are in.
Well, maybe. We'll see how it unfolds, but
Nah,
I figured do it for the content.
Heck yeah, I love that. I love that he took number 12 too. I think
I like that, too.
Yeah, 12 is a baller number.
Yeah.
I'm surprised like Hanford was brushing off like, we don't really care about numbers. Yes, you do. I think we get like numbers can become so defining for a player, and I think it's a sick number.
I was glad that Flacco was able to keep 15 too, because I'm like, I don't want to have to buy another jersey.
Well, people are saying now that I bought the Shador jersey, like he's picked 12 only because DeAndre Carter is number 2, who's
Right.
like a free agent wide
Yeah.
receiver, kick return guy who's never worn 2 before in his life, by the way. So
Yeah.
a little bit of a sucker move by him to pick number 2
Yeah.
when you just drafted a guy who has a number 2 tattoo on his hand. But
Yeah.
I digress.
Yeah, but it's easy to put that one in front
One
of
right
it.
in front of it, yeah. I wonder how it would work with like the money sign though. You know, like that's kind of his whole thing. We'll have to see.
So, any thoughts right now with the dome versus no dome? Do you want them to move to Brook Park? Do you
I would
like
love-
them up here?
I like them up here, and I saw the renderings of the stadium that they were like the renovations that they wanted to make, and every time they do a renovation of one of our stadiums, whether it's like the Q or whatever it's called now, and Cleveland Brown Stadium, all they do is just put glass around it.
You're making a box.
Yeah, they're just like, this is going to change everything, and they just put a bunch of windows, and I'm like, I don't think that does anything. Like, I would love them to have a dome downtown, but I would rather keep it downtown, just because I think that's it's more fun that way.
Yeah.
Going to Brook Park to watch a game and then having to go through the Jimmy Haslam Village to get there is going
Is
to
that
be
the official name? I can't wait.
I
for
mean,
that
it
one.
should be like, or for Pilot Flying J, like it's whatever it's going to be isn't going to. I'm sure it'll be very nice, and I'm sure it'll be fine once they build it. And they talk about all the revenue that it can bring by having a dome. I'm like, I don't know if there's that many, like not just arena, but I guess a stadium events that they can bring here that aren't coming here in the winter. Like, I mean, I don't feel like there's a lot of stadium tours that happen in the winter, and
Yeah.
that people would, So
How about this one, Bill? NFL schedule drops this week. Any interest at all? It's usually one of our biggest like running jokes on the show is that next week we'll get to do the schedule
The
game.
schedule game, sure.
so here's how that affects me. I have to schedule my shows that are in Cleveland around that.
Yes.
Because if there's a Monday night game or a Sunday night game or a Thursday night game and I have a show, I just go, nope. We're not doing that, because trying to go up against the Browns is, even if they're terrible, is a really tough thing to do. So I might be able to like do like a halftime thing. But yeah, I that's how I think of that. And I get excited to see how it all, it just means we're closer to the season, and so I get excited about that.
Speaking of season, we're in season right now for the Guardians. Right now, we're 2.5 games back at Detroit, so competitive right now, a few games over 500. What are your early thoughts on this Guardians team?
Boy, I wish we had a bat. Like it's the same thing every year. Every
Once
year,
again.
we could use some more runs is the main thing. Overall, though, I'm happy with where they're at. I think being a couple games back is good this time of year because it means they have to work for it. Whereas I feel like if they get too far ahead, the later season, there's usually a collapse.
Yeah.
And I feel like them trying to put things together, trying to integrate these new players. Hopefully, Manzardo can bring up his average. Like he's hitting some dingers, but he's not.
Yeah.
I thought he was going to hit for average better.
Yeah.
And it doesn't seem like he's doing that. I mean, I haven't checked too much, but is he still hitting around 200, I think?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he's still got a fantastic mustache. I mean, he gets extra points for that.
Fantastic mustache, fantastic swing. He just isn't putting the ball into play as much as I thought. But he is mashing them. Like, what has he got, 6 or 7 home runs already?
Yeah. And you know what? It might be a little deceiving too because outside of the last 2 games, like they did pretty good on the road. They scored like 45 runs in 7 games. They had like over 7 home runs, and I think like over 30 of those runs came in the 6th inning or later. So they're hitting in the clutch. Like this guy or these guys have that quality about them that make them exciting because they kind of step up when it matters most. I anticipated them to have like a natural like couple of sleeper days, but
and also
not that 7-run inning or whatever it was the other day, but
and coming off a weekend against the Phillies, that's a good team.
yeah,
like
they're a good team,
that's a tough team, and it's also the beginning of May, so I'm not super worried about that. As long as we're in it for the Central Division, then we'll be all right. So hopefully they can figure out everything they need to do. Vote's a good manager. I think they're on the right path.
Have you noticed with your shows, you mentioned scheduling around certain Cleveland events. Have you noticed, like, is it ever a thing with crowds? Are they grumpier or more engaged depending on how sports are doing?
So one of a good example of that is Sunday shows at Hilarities after a Browns win or loss. Now, if it's a win, it is rowdy as hell. Like people are they're drunk and they're having a good time. Not necessarily have their listening ears on, but the vibes are good. And then you have the Browns loss, which have experienced a lot more, and it's just they're there, they're drunk, they don't know how they ended up there, but they just didn't want to go home, so they're gonna I'll go sit in a dark basement for a few hours and listen to somebody ramble, and the vibes are not pristine.
Okay.
So yeah, it's palpable.
Okay,
You can notice it.
So you still want the best for your material, and what you're trying to get done is still a win, though.
Oh yeah, always a win.
All right, so
always
wins are
a win.
wins.
Yeah,
always good vibes.
Oh, yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, Bill.
Yeah, I don't want to have to make jokes about the Browns being bad.
Yeah.
Like this,
Yeah.
like when we went to the playoffs with Baker the one year and we were good. It was just like, hey, the Browns, and everybody's like, yeah, and I'm like, and I don't have a joke. Let's just be happy. Yeah, it's good.
Well, for your sake and for all the Cleveland sports fans, we hope we keep winning or have something good juju, good vibes in the air. Tell everyone where they can check out your work. Definitely a YouTube channel.
Yeah, you can go to youtube.com/Bill Squire. You can get all the links at my website, BillSquire.com, or BillIsrael.com, which is a tribute to the Hell is Real billboard down there in Southern Ohio. It's not BillIsrael.com. And then, all my socials are at Bill Squire.
Sweet. Thanks for coming in, Bill.
Thanks for having me.
We're going to take a short break. We'll be back with more Big Play Cleveland right after this.
The Big Play Sports Network is brought to you by Infinity. Luxury experiences for those who dare to be different. Visit infinityofbeechwood.com today.
Welcome on back into the Big Play Cleveland Show. It's Nick Padone from my friends at Northeast Factory Direct, and I want you to listen to the sound of my voice and close your eyes and imagine walking into a brand new kitchen, modern, functional, absolutely beautiful without the stress of delays, sky-high prices. Well, that's exactly what Northeast Factory Direct can deliver for you. Right now, you can get a full 10x10 kitchen cabinet set for $2,600. These aren't flimsy particle board nonsense defense cabinets. They're solid wood, soft closed drawers, full extension glides. It's what you're looking for in your kitchen this spring. Northeast Factory Direct has an amazing team of experienced designers who make this whole process easy and painless. You book an appointment, you bring the basic measurements of your kitchen space, and you see your dream kitchen come to life. The best part, the design consultation is completely free. There's no pressure, no obligation. You got to get on the phone. You got to call Northeast Factory Direct. You got to find your nearest location: Cleveland, Euclid, Macedonia, North Canton. Visit them today. Make sure to ask for that extra special Big Play bonus to get a hookup on your new kitchen this spring and summer. It's time for Bringing the Heat with our friend Jensen Lewis. Jensen, Stephen Kwan has the 5th highest batting average in Major League Baseball right now. Does he get enough praise nationally?
Probably not, Nick, and I think it'll be qualified even a bit more if the Guardians' offense continues to remain inconsistent against good pitching, yet he ends up ascending even more. He's kind of one of those, and I would hesitate to use a Wall Street term here, but he almost feels recession-proof with his swing, just because, as I've talked with you guys in previous weeks and even last year, with his bat being in the zone the way it is, and his ability to have such elite pitch recognition, balls in and out of the strike zone, unless you just run into a stretch of pitching that's just absolutely dominating at that point, he feels like he's the guy that gives you the best chance at bat in, at bat out. So totally agree. Does not get the love that he deserves nationally, but if he continues to stand out the way that he has pretty much from the rest of the guys outside of Jose Ramirez, then absolutely he'll get his roses.
Jensen, Jokenzie Noel, and Nolan Jones both struggling at the plate right now. How long can the Guardians stick with that platoon in right field?
Great question, Chris. They may have to, because there's really no one else to go to. And guys, we talked a little Chase DeLauder and how bad that injury ended up setting this club back with what he did in spring training. You would feel at this point that if he hadn't already been called up, that he would be that guy that would be able to step in and they would figure out their outfield at that point too. The other part that really stings is without Lane Thomas, you're seeing that the lack of impact depth has really been illuminated. And I hate to say it, guys, you enter a point in the schedule now where you come up against really elite starting pitching in Milwaukee. You catch a little bit of a breather going up against the Reds this coming weekend with no Hunter Green, but then you go right into Minnesota, who has pitched as well and consistently as anyone in the American League. So tough stretch. And guys, I hate to say it too, this is usually what happens, is that if you're not hitting well, it always seems to coincide with running up against a bunch of pitching staffs that really have wipeout stuff. So another challenge here for Stephen Vogt for lineup construction purposes to be able to get that one right day in and day out.
Yeah, speaking of the lineup, just want to get your thoughts on Rocchio. He's had 1 hit in the last 12 games. Do you think he's a guy we could see just hitting the minors quickly to get his stride back?
Gabby, it's tough too, because you looked at what he did at the end of last year and you were hoping that he had finally elevated himself and kind of come out of that young hitter moniker, if you will. It's been tough all the way around. Like, it cannot really catch any semblance of consistency, and whether that's a product of coming out of his approach, chasing pitches outside the strike zone, or just the mere fact, and we talked about this too, where young players looking over the shoulder. That was the thing with Gabby Arias the last couple of years, right? He'd go for 3 with a couple of strikeouts, and then it felt like he was looking over his shoulder. Maybe he'd sit for the next day or two and then have to try and feel like he had to get at least a couple of hits to stay in the lineup. So perhaps that's where the mentality shift needs to happen, is that Roque goes down to AAA, gets those day in and day out bats to get himself back onto a good, run as far as the results are concerned, but maybe even more of a priority, get his confidence back to the level we saw at the end of last year.
Jensen, obviously going down to Cincinnati this weekend, first time the Guards are going to get a crack at Terry Francona besides spring training. Does Francona managing the Reds add a little something extra to the Ohio Cup here now?
Yeah, I mean, we don't have the Kevin Cash instance where we can get the scooter out there and have target practice, but you certainly will love the rivalry weekend, a battle for the Ohio Cup, and again, where Tito knows the ins and outs of the organization and more importantly the personnel. How is that chess match in game with Stephen Vogt and really, you look at the Reds overall, which they've been a pretty solid offensive club all year long. What a test here, for this Guardian pitching staff. The other element to this, guys, is I'm anxious to kind of see the run game. Cincinnati has really used the stolen base and some speed pressure to help put up some crooked numbers, and the power has really yet to kind of come out. They've been a bit above league average in that department. So as the weather warms, usually the Great American launching pad ends up favoring the home team. So hopefully the Guardians pitching staff is up for the task.
This is a little unrelated, but Jensen, are the Rockies worse than last year's White Sox?
Yeah, Gabby, yes. Oh, my God. I don't think, at least in the betting space, I don't know if I've ever seen this early in the year where run lines have been 2.5, yet 3. We had an instance on Sunday where before the game, the run line was 3.5 for the San Diego Padres against the Rockies. I don't know if I've ever seen that before a game. You're used to seeing that if a team gets out early and the live numbers end up changing that way. I've never seen a club that doesn't have any answers, not only at the big league level, but guys, they don't really have anything in the minor leagues to hang your hat on too, of like, oh, don't worry, so-and-so is going to be here soon. They're up against it analytically, scouting. The ownership doesn't spend money. And when they do, the Chris Bryants of the world don't end up panning out. You look at Ezekiel Tovar, who they signed long-term. Hopefully he's the beginning of a turnaround there, but I don't know where the bottom is. And that's scary. We thought futility was the Chicago White Sox last year. We may now get a new all-time low with what the Rockies end up this year.
Alrighty, Jensen, let's hop quickly into our Northeast Factory direct question of the week. Will the Ohio Cup stay in Cleveland this year?
Hell yeah. Come on. It just means more, as we say in the SEC. But I'm hoping that we get a couple of blowouts here. You get 2 or 3 and it stays in its rightful place here at Progressive Field.
Thanks again to Jensen Lewis. Thanks again to our friends at Northeast Factory Direct. Check out their great locations in Cleveland, Euclid, Macedonia, North Canton. Remember to ask for that extra special Big Play bonus. We'll be back with more Bringing the Heat next week. Don't go anywhere. More Big Play Cleveland right after this.
The Big Play Sports Network is brought to you by Garage Beer. No bitterness, no frills, no IPA, just beer-flavored beer. Find local retailers who sell garage beer near you by visiting drinkgaragebeer.com.
Welcome on back into the Big Play Cleveland Show. It's time for our weekly segment with Colleague Racing's own Ty Dillon. Ty drives for your Northeast Ohio's NASCAR team owner, Matt Colleague. He fields 3 teams in the Xfinity Series, 2 teams in the NASCAR Cup Series. Ty, thanks so much for joining the program again.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me on. I'm excited to be back on. We didn't have the strongest weekend this week to talk about. Nothing real too fun to talk about on the racetrack, but I've had a pretty fun week off the racetrack. So glad to be on and ready to get into it.
When you have a bad outing, just a completely bad weekend, what do you take away from it? We're kind of in mourning here in Cleveland, Ohio. Our Cavs got absolutely shellacked. And we're kind of the belief, like, you probably just rip up that tape. You don't even watch it. There's not a whole bunch to learn from it because we know that that's not the Cavs that we've loved so much all season long. Is that kind of the same for you?
Yeah, that was a lot of the conversation we had. Like there were some good things about this weekend for our race team. We had a really fast car actually, and just little mistakes. We had a fuel pump issue in practice that made us have to start in the rear of the race. So you're starting behind there, and we got a little aggressive on a pit call that ended up backfiring and really taking us out of the race early on, putting us in a deep hole, and then going into a restart, trying to do a little too much, trying to make up for our mistakes. I had a tire going down going into turn 1 and ended up getting into guys and ruining our day. And our conversation with my crew chief, Andrew Dickinson, and our technical director, Mike Cook, was we don't need to overlook the good things that we had. We had a couple big mistakes that ruined the weekend, yes, but the positive is we're making speed with our race cars, and that's what's going to carry our our momentum through the future. And it was definitely let's flush all these things. Let's not forget the mistakes we made. Let's get better at them. But we got to flush this weekend as far as our mentality and our emotions about it, and move on to the next one and focus on some good stuff.
For sure. And coming up next, North Wilkinsboro All-Star Race. Tell us a little bit about that and what you're looking forward to this weekend.
Yeah, it's a fun weekend. It's lower pressure. There's no points on the line. It's kind of an exhibition race. It's it's our all-star weekend like every sport has, and it's a fun one for sure. We're one of the teams that has to race our way in, being that we didn't race together last year, didn't get ourselves in victor lane. That's what locks you into being automatically an all-star race, but they have a chance to race your way in through an open qualifier. So we'll be a part of that. The cool thing is it's 45 minutes from our house here in North Carolina. And it's really one of the original like Field of Dreams style racetracks. It's an old racetrack. It's like back where the moonshiners really started, here in the hills of North Carolina. My grandfather raced there, my dad raced there, and every time we go there, it's kind of a throwback in time. And it means a lot to everyone here in North Carolina that we still race on that speedway and that NASCAR brought it back. So it's going to be a fun weekend for us. It'll be a good opportunity to kind of reset our momentum for our race team.
So the one thing that we love to do, Ty, here on the Big Play Sports Network is we love to give our fans an inside look at our athletes and what they're like, off the track. For the most part, we do a lot of work with, our Browns players, what they're into off the field. Obviously, as a dad, you had a really cool opportunity this week to bring your two oldest kids to an MLB game. I believe it was one of their first MLB games where you threw out a first pitch. How cool is that? And is it extra cool that they get to see their dad throw out the first pitch of the game before it starts?
Yeah, it was an awesome opportunity. We were there for the Braves versus Reds game. We were promoting the upcoming race in Bristol, or the upcoming baseball game they're going to have at Bristol Motor Speedway, which is a cool spectacle coming up soon. And I grew up going to games at Brave Stadium as a kid, and then to bring my kids and just kind of carry that tradition, like watching sports and baseball is just something that we did as a family. We would get done with sports practice, come home, have dinner, and turn the game on.
Yep.
And that's something that we did. And that's something that I want to carry over to my kids because it means a lot to me. And they were so pumped that dad was out there in front of everybody on the Jumbotron throwing out the first pitch. I was totally cool, like no nerves. I walk out on the mound, I look up at the Jumbotron and see myself, and I turn around, and it was like a tunnel effect. Like the catcher just kept getting further and further away. I'm like, oh my gosh, my arms turned to jello, my legs felt 1,000 pounds, and I'm like, I'm just gonna throw this thing as hard as I can, try to throw it, show people that I'm one of the few athletic NASCAR drivers that exist. Show a little bit of my sports background, and I threw a pretty good heater, but I did hit the dirt. I probably would have hit the batter if he was a lefty in the left foot, but I had to show off the heat at least.
Dude, it is like people don't realize. I've thrown a first pitch at a minor league stadium, Guardians affiliate, but like people don't realize how far away the mound is from the catcher, like until you're out there and until there's fans in the stands, like it totally is daunting. And like I talked to people who had thrown first pitches prior, and they said like, yeah, until you get out there, like you're not going to realize how far away it actually is. For sure. And I'm the kind of person that's like, whether it's a game or like, I'm going to take the hardest option possible if there is the option. Like I want to do it the most difficult. So the guy catching was like, hey, you can throw from in front of the mound or be on the mound. I'm like, I'm going on the mound. Like I'm going all the way in here. And he's like, okay, everybody tries to throw hard. And when they throw hard, they spike it. So try not to spike it. And sure enough, I threw hard. I didn't quite spike it, but I did bounce it off the middle of the left side batter's box. Well, we got to get you up here to Cleveland for a Guardians game with the colleague crew. Do another first pitch here in Cleveland. I think the fans would get up for a Ty Dillon first pitch in the land. Yeah, absolutely. I think we got something in the works here coming up on the 27th. So I'm looking forward to coming out, seeing a Guards game, and seeing everybody that follows along with us week in, week out here, and really growing this Ohio fan base for college racing and myself. And we're going to have a great week out there, and I'm looking forward to it. All right, man, you've been busy. So last one before we get you out of here. On Thursday, you participated in an Over the Edge event with the NASCAR Hall of Fame Foundation in Charlotte, raise money for education opportunities for young students in that area to participate, visit the NASCAR Hall of Fame. What was that event like for you? It was so cool, raising money for a great cause like that, education. And I tell people all the time, NASCAR is a sport that
really almost every degree you can get in college is involved in our sport, whether it's engineering, business management, the physical side of things too. So there's so much that goes into our sport, and then to educate kids around that using something fun like NASCAR racing is so cool. So the basis of what we were doing was awesome to begin with, but then it was time to go off the side of a 10-story building, which I was not a huge fan of. I get up there and you get all the harnesses, you start to feel good. You feel a little bit better about things, but also you got to have a lot of trust in the people who are putting the harnesses on and anchoring everything down. The hardest part was you have to back up off the side of the building, and you're holding on to these two side railings, and then you have to let go of the side railings and just like sit into the tension of the harness. That was the hardest part, just letting go, and like that was the big trust moment. And once you get settled in, you have like kind of a speed anchor with your hand, and then that part was pretty fun, walking down the side of the building. But man, letting go for that first moment, that ranked right there with throwing out the first pitch the day before. So that was two things made me pretty nervous.
Yeah, nerve-wracking week for Ty Dillon. We're gonna hope that this week is a lot less nerves and a lot more success this weekend for you, Ty. Appreciate you popping on.
Yeah, thanks guys. We'll see you next week.
Make sure to follow Ty Dillon on social at Ty Dillon. Follow Colleague Racing as well at Colleague Racing. We'll do it again next week. Stay tuned for more Big Play Cleveland right after this.
The Big Play Sports Network is brought to you by Pure AV, luxury home automation. Experience your dream smart home by visiting pureavcorp.com. Welcome back to the Big Play Cleveland Show. It's time for our little fill-in-the-blank segment brought to you by Pure AV. Pure AV specializes in sales, service, and installation of a variety of smart home technologies. They really do it all. And they can help you get the perfect sports watching setup with their high-performance audio and video displays. They even offer hidden audio and video options that allow you to keep a clean, elegant interior without sacrificing your favorite technology. Pure AV can set you up with invisible architectural speakers that are hidden in your walls and ceilings, as well as disappearing TVs that vanish behind art or mirrors. Visit pureavcore.com to see everything they offer for your home. I would give the Cavaliers a blank chance of winning this series.
By the time this show is shown, it could be a 0% chance. Right now, as we sit down 3-1, I give us a 30% chance. Why not? I'm a little bit of an optimist. There's really no reason that I see that this team would come back based upon the mettle that they showed on Sunday. I don't think they've got the heart to do it right now, and I don't think they will. But the optimist in me says, hey, this is Cleveland. We've done it before, and you never know. Maybe they rally and they get it done.
Only 13 times in NBA history has a team come back from down 3-1. Our Cleveland Cavaliers are one of those 13 teams, as we all remember so well, the 2016 NBA Finals. I give this team a 10% chance. I don't think it's looking very good.
Let's do Browns here, guys. The quarterback competition between Shedeur Sanders and Dillon Gabriel is going to be
ongoing, and this is going to be a topic just nonstop, whether you're on radio, whether you're on social media, whether you're on TV. This is all anybody's going to talk about for a long time, which is kind of interesting because these guys were drafted later on. Both of them were, right? They're both kind of house money. If either of them work out, that's great. I don't know about you, Nick. I'm not lined up behind one of these guys. I'd love to see one of the four that we've got right now work out. My preference would be one of these two because they're the younger guys on there. But ultimately, it doesn't matter to me who it is. If we come out with a franchise quarterback, I'm going to be happy. But I also feel that I'm in the minority. Most people are lining up behind their guy right now.
Which is strange. And it's fascinating to me. Andrew Berry did a phenomenal job. Rookie minicamp this past weekend, 47 participants. There are 7 draft picks and then 40 other rookie players that were there on tryout basis or undrafted free agents. That's to get a close look at these guys up close and personal. I couldn't remember a rookie minicamp that they're running 11 on 11s at rookie minicamp. They want to see as much Shedeur Sanders and Dillon Gabriel as they can because, Chris, if one of these guys does work out, you found your next Brock Purdy, and that sets the Browns up very well with 2 first-round picks next year. I think they're going to want to get these guys on the field as quickly as they can.
And we already mentioned it's schedule week, so we're getting the Browns schedule. The Browns are going to have blank primetime games, you think?
I'm going to go high. I think, and here's a little bit of a conspiracy theory, I think there was a lot of goodwill for the Browns by picking up Shedeur Sanders, both within the NFL offices and then among fans, too, and among the general public. And that's going to up the interest in this team nationally. So I'm going to go with 4 right now, which is actually a lot for the Cleveland Browns. Not a lot if you're the Dallas Cowboys, but if you're the Cleveland Browns, 4 is a ton of national games. And I wouldn't be surprised if the NFL goes ahead and does that for the Browns this year.
I'll say 2. I think they happen later in the season because they'll let the Joe Flacco, Kenny Pickett thing play its way out, and then they'll try to get the Browns in prime time where it could be Shador later in the season. So I'll say 2. And I guess the London game maybe counts. It seems like it's going to be the Minnesota Vikings at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium out there in London early in the season. So it'll be another early bye week for the Browns this year.
And I'll add this too. Even if they schedule 4, they always have the magic of the flex.
The flex.
So last year, I think we got 4. We ended up with 2 because they flexed us out of a couple of them. So keep that in mind when the schedule comes out this week.
All right, and our Guardians, we're a fourth of the way through, 23-17, 2.5 games behind Detroit. One word to describe the Guardians this season.
We're grinding. We're grinding. I mean, basically, we're trying to find ourselves offensively. We're trying to find ourselves from a pitching standpoint. It's a team that at times is doing a lot with smoke and mirrors, I feel. But we have seen the starting pitching start to come together a little bit. We've seen some more consistency from the offense, and hopefully that continues over the course of, once again, a very long season for the Guardians.
Well said, Chris.
All right, no more fill in the blank. Thanks again to our friends at Pure AV. Catch us next week on Big Play Cleveland. Thanks for watching.